Hello, beautiful nerdy stitchers. Yeah, it's me, Mev, from Paris after 6 months of not filming. And as you can see, I'm all set up for the occasion. Dig that mask, my mom made it for me. I'm extremely grateful, but I'm gonna take it out now. See you in a bit. Yeah, no, let's stop with the silliness. Hello all, it's been a minute, hasn't it? My last video dates from November 10th, 2019. It's been such a long time. I hope I'm gonna be able to remember how to do this. Today is May 9th, 2020. It's Saturday, I'm home. Not that I've been elsewhere for the last 2 months now. It's pretty warm here in Paris today. I was able to take my morning walk this morning, and now I'm ready to film at last. I hope you're all well. I really, really, really hope that wherever you are, whatever your situation is, you're making do with what we're currently in the middle of. And I hope your loved ones, your friends, the stranger around the corner is as well as can be. It's been strange, it's been scary, but I do hope that you all find some ways to alleviate the stress. And for my part, I think that this craft and this community has been a huge part of me staying relatively sane. So that's really, really good. Now let's try and do this as normal as can be. First of all, as some of you may know, I would like to say hi and thank you to the people that reached out since November to tell me where they live so that I can add them on the world map of Stitchers right here. For those of you who are new, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. This map here features all the Stitchers that have reached out to me, just saying their name and where they live so that I can have them their name added on this map with a little pin. So there are four ladies that I would like to acknowledge today. There's Miriam, who goes by Mirili, and Miriam is from Sao Paulo, Brazil. So I've got one more pin on the South American continent. Then there's Jan R, who's in Cape Breton, I'm going to say it the French way, in Nova Scotia, Canada. I think I already have someone there in Nova Scotia, so that's cool. There's Bonnie from New Jersey, and then there's Tricia, whom we probably all know and love. Tricia goes by Preb409 on Instagram. And Tricia I've been interacting with for a while now, and she is in the greater Chicago area. She lives in Glen Ellen, Illinois. And Tricia, this is a good segue. I've met her for real in Paris in February when she was visiting with her husband, and we were able to hook up and spent 2-3 hours in this tea coffee shop for a 5 o'clock high tea, which was awesome. It was really sweet to meet her in real life, and we had this discussion which could have lasted hours and hours and hours. And it was lovely. Tricia, thank you again for making that happen. It was really good. So these are the four people that have been added on the world map of Stitchers. Thank you again. And if you wish me to add your name on this map, just leave a comment saying where you live, what your first name is, whatever you feel comfortable, like let me know, and I'll be really glad to add you on this map. Now, 6 months, Illustrata is long, very long. And the events that have happened in the last 2 months kind of obliterated everything that has happened before. There was a Christmas, there was a birthday, mine at least. There was a pretty scary moment where my dad had some medical issues. Thankfully, he's now doing okay. And then there's this whole COVID-19 thing, which is has taken a toll on all our lives, I guess. I am very, very grateful, and I feel very lucky to be able to work from home. I'm in a flat that I love. I am able to go out and walk for 30 minutes every morning before I get to work. I'm going to stay on a work from home thing for at least another 2 months. Our company has decided that. So it's going to be a while still. But again, I'm extremely grateful that I still have a job, that I am able to be at home and with everything I need. And then, of course, I have cross stitch. And this is such a gift. So let's get into it, because there's been some things done for a while now. Let me see. We'll start with the finishes. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I think. Yeah, that's cool. 5 even. Let's get to it. Last time I filmed, I was working mainly on 2 whips. One was the Senoch alphabet from Languedoc Samplers that I was doing in a color conversion to match this beautiful fabric here on my couch. And I had planned to stitch 2 cushions, one of which is finished, not fully finished yet, but the first cushion is finished, and then the other one I've started, but it's on the back burner for now. Let me show you the first cushion, because it's awesome. So I don't know if you remember, but I decided to divide the number, so the 26 letters, into 2 parts, so that I would end up with 2 square cushions. Now this is the first one. Yay! 15 letters rather, stitched on 36 count Country Vintage Mocha, or Vintage Country Mocha by Zweigart. It's a painted, a printed fabric, sorry, and it's stitched with a mix of silks and overdyed cottons, and so since you saw this last, so I still had the 4 bottom letters to stitch. Let me try and do this proper, if I remember how to do this. So I had still those 4 to stitch, and I think the P wasn't done yet. So this is the first of the 2 cushions. And as you can see, as the pattern called for, I've added those little tiny red motifs here and there. So it's just like crosses in triangle shapes, and I think it puts the whole thing together. It's like, it looks absolutely awesome to have those tiny little things, because it just, like, yeah, it makes the whole piece have a sort of a coherence, if you will. And I love this. Now let me put it against the fabric on my couch so that you can see. Let me see if I can do this proper. Pretty cool, huh? Let me bring you there. There you go. Not bad. Oh, I'm so happy. This looks really, really good. I hope this sound is going to be okay. I'm trying something new today. So that's the first one. How'd you like it? I love it. When I finished this, I started the second one, and then other things came up, and so I haven't gone very far. Let me show you a mock-up of the second pillow. Sorry for the scratching, that sound. So that's the mock-up for the second pillow. So I'm going to stitch the remaining letters in a diamond shape. There's A, K, I, J, S, Q, R, Z, T, L, V. So that's the idea. Let me put this straight. There you go. And the fabric I'm using is a 32 count linen. I'm stitching 1/2. So this one was a 36 count. It's been stitched 1/2. This one is a 32 count. So the letters are going to be bigger. And that's, I don't know how I feel about this, because this is 36, this is 32. Not sure how I like the idea, but I think I have to stitch further along to just see whether it's okay or not. So here's my start. This is the Q. So I don't know if you can see the color of this beautiful, rich, deep, like wine red. And it's very close from this color here. I don't know if you can see this, or this one here, like the red one. So it's really close to that. So I think it's going to be really cool. And I think I'm using, so those letters are stitched, this Q letter is stitched with 412 by DMC. So that's going to be the main color for the outlines of the letters. And then I'm going to choose from the conversion I made for all the motifs. So every black letters is going to be in this 412 tan or light beige DMC color, and then all the rest is going to be stitched with a mix of threads that are going to be similar than these colors here. But again, I've been doing other stuff, so this one is kind of lingering for now. I'll pick it up again, of course, at some point. So let me show you the start of the second pillow. This is a Q. It's actually really beautiful, and it gets this red thing. It's awesome. All right, finish number 1. I mean this pillow here. Finish number 2 is Portuguese sampler by Barbara Anna Designs. Now this one I've shown on Instagram. So the Barbara Anna Design Portuguese sampler is well known. It's a big piece with alphabets, a quote, and then 2 major crazy bands. And the way I did it, so I haven't stitched the whole thing because I intend the finished thing to be a pouch. And so I concentrated on the motifs rather than on the letters. And so I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you first the bands that are stitched. And it's upside down and then it's right side up. You'll see why in a minute. So this is the main band finished. Everything has been converted. It's charted in DMC and I've converted everything. By the way, I do have the conversion ready. If anyone's interested, I'm more than happy to share what I've done. I've sent it to a couple of people already, and so it's just ready to go up in an email. So if you're interested, just hit me up. I'll leave my Instagram and email address in the description box below so that you can write to me if you will. So that's one band, and then there's another one, and a little border. And I have added my signature here. Everything shows the wrong way. I hope it's going to end up okay in the end. Anyway, so let me show you this right side up now. Like awesome bird and the riders and the huge flowers. This is stitch 1/2 on 40 count mustard seed by XJU Design. And this piece of fabric was gifted to me by the lovely Linda Belmont. And I'm extremely grateful because, I mean, come on, it's perfect. I mean, the fabric is perfect for the design and for the colors and everything. And so this I had started for Leah Noel's Aviatrix Stitchers autumn birthday sale back in so the day I started that was September 23rd. And I think I finished it somewhere maybe early March, February, can't remember. So now let me show you why everything is not as it should in terms of upside down, right side up and everything. So my plan is to have this sewn into a pouch, which is going to be rather big. I'll do this with my mom at some point. So see why, so this is the flap with the main motifs, the main band, and it's going to open this way. I hope I'm going to be able to show this to you properly. So there you go. So this is going to be the flap, right? And the way it's going to be stitched is when you look at the pouch, when it's closed, you have this little border at the bottom, right? And then when you look at the other side of the pouch, you've got the other band. Pretty cool, huh? So it's going to be lined with a whatever fabric I'm going to find in my mom's stash. And then it's going to end up being a little pouch. Maybe I put some sewing notions in there, cross-stitch stuff, whatever, I don't know. Maybe it can even be kind of like a mini project bag for smalls whatever. I really enjoyed this stitching. The variegated floss is perfect for that kind of design because you've got splotches of you've got some areas where you have a good number of stitches. I also like the fact that I used some Gloriana silks together with some Gast and whatever cotton I had, and it shows like the thickness of the threads are not the same. So depending on the brand, the effect gives a little bit of texture. Let me try and show you. So you see the bird is stitched with Espresso Bean by General Art, and it's fairly thin. So the coverage is not perfect, which is cool because then it lets the fabric show a little bit beneath it. And I like it because it gives it a more vintagey vibe. Whereas the, what's it called? The wings are stitched with Gloriana, and the coverage, it's much better. So it gives more intensity to the actual stitches. And that effect I like very much. You've got variegations here in the horse, in the lady's skirt, obviously. And that gives it a really cool effect. Same on the other side for the little birds and the big flowers. It's pretty cool. And again, it was a joy to stitch. Really cool, easy, enjoyable, beautiful fabric. Everything was perfect. So that's my second finish. Yeah. Now, the 2-3 that are coming, I had never shown on flosstube. So you ready? I have stitched Adam's Menagerie for my nephew Amadou. He's my youngest nephew. He turned 4 in March, and the way it was planned is he was supposed to visit with my sister. So they live in Africa, in Niger. They were supposed to visit in April. Obviously, that never happened. And so I had intended to stitch it and then fully finish it with my mom to be able to gift it to him when he came. So he never came. We have no idea whether the family's going to be able to come over this summer. We'll see. Not making any plans. I know they would be very disappointed not to be able to spend the summer with us in France, but whatever will happen. So I have no idea when I'm going to give it to him. But anyway, I stitched it. It was ready for his birthday. Now let me show you the full pattern. So this is Adam's Menagerie by Tempting Tangles. And that was, again, inspired by Leah Noel, Aviatrix Stitchers, who's currently stitching it. And she made a full conversion, and so did I. So this is the actual pattern. Yeah, again, I'm hoping this will show right side up. I mean, like, anyway. So there is a verse from Genesis in the Bible. I haven't stitched the verse here, neither there, and I let go most of the clouds because of the fabric that I use. I'll show you in a minute. And I converted all the colors. I think it was, yes, it's charted in DMC, and I changed everything into overdyes, most of the things into overdyes. So that's the original pattern. I'll talk more about the actual pattern in a minute. I found a piece of 20 count Aida that I bought from XJU Design. I have no idea what the color is. Can't remember. Maybe it's hot cocoa. I don't know. But anyway, I thought it was cool. I thought it reminded me of like a stormy kind of, like stormy vibe in the desert or in somewhere in the savannah. And so I thought it'd be fitting, especially for a little boy. So there it is. So that's my version. Again, no clouds, no verse up there. And then the bottom I'll show you close up. I changed as well. So dig all those animals. Oh, it's so cool. This is so cool. So let me try and show you more closely what I did. So again, my sister's family live in Niger, which is a sub-Saharan country. So they're not far from, sandy areas and savannas. And they actually do regularly go on in some wildlife preservation parks. And so they actually do see elephants, elephants, giraffes, hippos, and all that cool stuff. So you know, they actually, this is Amadou here. I've changed the skin color to have something a little bit darker. He is French and Malian, so he's got darker skin. The baby elephant, the zebra is awesome. The mom elephant, the rhino is really cool. Can you see that? And then you've got the giraffe. I think my favorite is the ostrich, which looks so silly. I love her. And then you've got a whatever, I don't know what kind of animal that is. Is it a panther, or I don't know. You've got a tiny nest somewhere with some 1/1. Okay, so this was supposed to be stitched 1/2 on whatever fabric count, and because I was using Aida for the very few 1/1 stitches, I had to go through Aida, and that was messy. So my stitches are really ugly, but thankfully you can't see them. So you've got 2 little birds here, stitch 1/1, and then you've got another one, I think, on the, 2, they're so cool, on the elephant's back. Can you see that? Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then look at the bottom. So what I did is I replaced the quote or the verse, the Bible verse, with just the 2, what are they called? Chameleons. Look at this dude here. So cool. And his tongue sticking out and then goes up until the letters here. So this is Amadou, my nephew's first name. And then it goes back on the other side to the other chameleon, and they're probably, with the ostrich, my favorites. So I hope you can see this. Should I put something at the back? Guys, this is going to be messy, all over the place, unrehearsed, the whole thing. So yeah. Little boy with his hair all over. Cool animals, a very dark, like sunsetty sun, and then his name. Now, for those of you who've heard me talk about this project, you might remember that was in my November, so my last video. Oh, no. It was in my September 2019 video. I had shown a very special gift that I had received from my nephews and nieces. I'm going to show it again real quick because I know some of you, when I posted this on Instagram, said, well, Mev, what about the plan you had? So I was offered some elephant dung. That's actual excrement that was picked up by my nephews. And I said that I wanted to incorporate it on the stitch piece. Now, obviously, it is going to go on this savannah, jungle-y, whatever pattern, right? So my plan somehow is to incorporate this elephant poop on the piece. What I'm probably gonna do is somehow add it here down at the bottom of the piece. But the thing is, I want to fully finish it before I do that, because it's very brittle and it's really like dried fibers, and I know I'm gonna have to find a way to anchor it real good. I don't know whether it's gonna be glued or couched or stitched somehow. I don't know. But because it's fragile and brittle, I'm going to fully finish it first, and then I'll add the elephant poop on it. So it's going to be there. Don't worry. Which is going to be so cool. He's going to love it. And so the idea is to applique this piece on a little backpack for my nephew. So he's going to have I'll find a very random, regular backpack, and then I'm going to stitch this piece on it. And then I'm going to add the elephant poop. And if they visit over the summer, he's going to have it this summer. Otherwise, we'll see how it works out. So that was Adam's Menagerie in a very special take. And I like it very much. Again, that was pretty quick to stitch. Lots of fun. And I had them on my mind all the time, which was really cool. Now, little side note about Adam's Menagerie. I mentioned that in my November update. I had bought the PDF pattern, and Leah, not knowing I had it, had bought it for me as well in a paper patterns. So I have both. I have the PDF pattern on, which I use, but I also have a brand new, untouched and used paper pattern for Adam's Menagerie. And we had discussed, I mean, she knew in the end when she sent it to me that I had both, that I had a double. So, and we discussed with Leah, and so she said that if I wanted to give it away, it would be fine. So I'm going to do that. If you're interested in stitching Adam's Menagerie by Tempting Tangles, please let me know in the comments below. I'm more than happy to pass it along. Again, I haven't used it, so it's brand new. It's still in the, I still have the plastic thingy. If more than one person wishes to have it, I'll draw a name random. And if you wanna be part of this, pass the stash thing, first of all, few usual rules. Please do not mention giveaway. Please be a subscriber to the channel, so that I know you're actually a stitcher that would like to stitch it. Be more than 18 so that I can get your address. And finally, if you're interested, just let me know if you could in your wildest dream visit a specific country, which would it be? Something completely crazy or very exotic or far, far away. Just let me know if you wish to, be in this Pass the Stash draw. Let me know which country you would absolutely love to visit and where you've never been. Okay, so that's for Adam's Menagerie by Tempting Tangles. Now, the two next finishes, and then we'll go on to whips. Two next finishes are fairly recent, and I haven't checked beforehand. Oh geez, I hope I'm gonna remember. These were freebies that were very kindly designed and put online by beloved cross-stitch designers to try and keep our head straight during this pandemic. And so these are freebies around the Be Well and Stitch kind of trend that's been going on for 2 months now. And I was inspired to stitch them after I saw them finished on Instagram. I think Leah, Aviatrix Stitcher, and Evelyn, I'll add her Instagram account in the description box below, because of course I haven't checked beforehand. But anyway, both of those little patterns, I got inspired seeing them on Instagram, and I changed the colors. And it's so awesome to see everyone stitching those in different colorways and on different fabrics and everything. So I did two. The first one is from, I'm pretty sure, the Drawn Thread. And the second one, this is so bad, I can't remember. I'll leave everything in the description box below so that you can find them and stitch them if you want. I've used the same piece of 28 count linen by Tentaculum to stitch both. And it's a very dark, kind of gloomy, dark sky. I was thinking, okay, times may be ominous and scary, but if we find a way to find the good in tiny little everyday things, then we will be well in the end. And so that's what inspired me to stitch those. So this one, I'm pretty sure is from the Drawn Thread, with some crazy pinks and reds and little cute bees. And I like this very much. I use only overdyed, and I think it's mainly silks. And I'm gonna try and do very close up because the flowers are done with satin stitches and French knots, and I had a blast. So let me just try and do a very close up. Okay, can you see? So the bees have, of course, the bees are almost all satin stitches, and then look at those tiny little flowers. So the petals are satin stitches, and then the middle is 4 tiny French knots next, glued together, if you will, or bunched up together. Oh, this is so sweet. This is so cool. So yeah, some very bright springy colors on a dark sky. Just because we will be well in the end. So that was the first one. I think it's from the Drawn Thread. Now the second one, I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember the designer. I'll add it up again. That one's also very beautiful, very simple. These stitched in like 2 days, I think. Look at this. So this one is more of a blue thing. I like it very, very much. Very simple basket. So here the things I added my signature, I think right here. So the letters here are couched. That was so cool to do. I used a very very bright pale gold color. I think it's a silk. Can't remember which one. And so the letters are couched, and then don't know if you can see this, but the basket is done in Algerian eyelets. Yeah, it doesn't show much, does it? In a dark color. So there you go. So those are the two little Be Well patterns that I stitched in March. And it did me good. It did me really good to, think about the words, think about all the people that are actually stitching those, was soothing. It felt really well. Good. Now, how about seeing some whips? One of which I've posted on Instagram. The two other ones are kind of like brand new, and almost nobody has ever seen them. So back in February for my birthday, I decided to get myself a pattern. It goes like this. Krista Gramer, who is the lady behind Just Stitch Along, had reached out to get the the Portuguese bird sampler conversion, and I discovered while exchanging emails with her that she had reproduced several samplers, and that their patterns were on sale, and I could get one. The first that I saw, I literally fell in love with instantly. And so I had to buy it. And so I bought the pattern for my birthday. And then I wanted to stitch it in silks because it's charted both in DMC and AVAS, so Au Verra Soie d'Alger silks. And I thought, okay, this is not very reasonable. It's going to be, end up quite pricey to get all those silks and everything. And so I bought the pattern and then let it sit for a while. And then in the end I said, okay, whatever. I can certainly offer myself those silks. And so I went on and bought the silks by the meter, which is awesome because there's this website, a French website. The lady behind Reflets de Soie also reproduces samplers. She does wonderful things, and I'll get to that later on. But anyway, and she's a distributor for Au Verra Soie, and she actually does give you the option to buy it by the length rather than by the skeins, which is really cool because then, for samplers where you only need fairly short lengths to do some of the motifs, then it ends up really interesting price-wise. So what I did in the end is I visited this website to order my Au Verra Soie silks. And so I had everything to get started. And then I didn't start it because I had something underway. And then, somewhere about a month ago, I had a lovely video chat with Mieke, darling Bluebell. And of course, she talked me into starting it. So I started it. And we have this hashtag going on Instagram. I think it's called, again, I'll leave it down below, but I think it's called Mev and Mieke Blame Party or something, where that particular weekend, truth be told, she talked me into it. I wasn't very much of an incentive for her to start a HAED on the following day. But anyway, I'm ever so grateful that she pushed me to it, because you'll see. Anyway, so we started this hashtag, and that weekend after our conversation, I started the pattern. And it's gorgeous. Do you want to see it? Oh, okay. So this is the pattern. This is Lucy Calcutt, 1825. I know a lot of you know this pattern. I had never seen it before, and when I saw it, I fainted. Look at this. I wanted to stitch a house. I wanted to stitch a very traditional sampler. I wanted to stitch a huge border, and I wanted to stitch spring colors. Well, this has everything in it, and it's charted in silks. And I love it because it's traditional in the sense that it's a little girl aged 8, please, who stitched this, but she did some very, very like unheard of things. Some of the motifs are extremely geometrical, like such as this one, the center medallion here. I had not seen that kind of thing. Those vines here are very special as well. Everything is asymmetrical, which is awesome. So none of the motifs repeat themselves exactly. I love this little house. I absolutely love it. And then the colors are gorgeous. It's like a mix of pinks and reds and greens, and there's a bright orange which kind of pops here and there. Let me show you the I don't have them, of course. No, I don't. You'll see the threads on the actual whip. Now I'm stitching this on a piece of 25 count Dragon's Nest by XJU Design. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And it's 1/1 because 1/1 is awesome. So look at where I'm at so far. Oh my god. Oh, this is so good. So I've done a fair bit. It's big. So I've got ways to go, but look at this. I mean, come on. Tiny little 1/1 stitches, which you know is my go-to. I love it. It's beautiful. It's such a joy to stitch with those silks. And each motif obviously is a mini finish. Look at this one here. The central medallion here, I love. It's gorgeous. And on this fabric, I don't know if it shows really well, but it's modeled with, what is it? Slightly very, very pale yellow with splotches of kind of greens and stuff. And I thought it'd be very fitting for the piece. So this is where I'm at so far on Lucy Calcutt 1825. And I'm having a blast. It's just perfect for now. Perfect. It brings so much joy, so much colors. I'm so very thankful. Krista, thank you so much for putting this out there. It's perfect. I love it. I really, really love it. So this one, I have Mieke to blame for making me start it, and I'm extremely grateful for that. Now, the reason I hadn't started it is because I had started something else, which I haven't shown anybody yet. When I ordered the silks for the Lucy Calcutt 1825, as I mentioned, I was on this website on which there are a bunch of samplers, antique samplers reproduced, and I stumbled upon this beautiful darning sampler, and I fell in love instantly. And so I ordered the silks for the Lucy Calcutt, and then I bought this pattern as well, and I bought the thread pack because it's all, again, au ver à soie silks. So in the end, I was out there just to, do a smart, like, cost-effective purchase. I ended up purchasing the silks for Lucy Calcutt, the pattern, and the silks for the pattern. Anyway, this is Stéphanie Desmidt, 1844. It's a French sampler. And look at this. This is a darning sampler. So it's like almost only satin stitches in those little tiny rectangles. Everything's done in silks. The colors are gorgeous. I'm going to show them to you in a minute. I had to have it. It's extremely different. It's not only crosses, it's beautiful. And I had the perfect Oh, I'm so excited. I had the perfect fabric for this. So, you ready? I'm going to show you the fabric. And you know that fabric. I'm stitching this on 32 count Midnight by Luminous Fiber Arts, Misty Purcell. So, that's the fabric. Can you, like... All right. Keep it together. This is the fabric. These are the silks. Guys, they were organized on the card. It's beautiful. This is so beautiful. This lady does like wonders. I love it. So these are all the silks that are called for. The fabric again is a 32 count linen, Midnight by Luminous Fiber Arts. Now, want to see where I'm at? Oh God. Here's what I've done so far. Ta-da! Oh, can you see the sheen of these silks? So I've done 6 of the rectangles so far. Oh, this is so beautiful. And it's pretty easy. I mean, it's a small count and it's a dark fabric, so you got to be careful. But I mean, these are satin stitches. It's really like extremely simple. Now, where it gets a little bit tricky is when you've got stitches that are actually over 1. Let me try and show this to you. It's straight, like, you know, back stitch or forward stitches, but can you see like the background of this one here? This is over 1, under 1, over 1, under 1. So obviously on 32 count dark fabric, it's a little bit of a challenge, but I mean, look at the result. So what I've done is on where there's only like tiny little over 1 straight stitches, this is with 1 strand of silk, and then everything that is like bigger satin stitches, this is 2 strands, which gives it texture. And with the silks, it's just like gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Can you see that one as well? Like, oh, it's so beautiful. This one also is very textured. You've got 2 different colors plus the background, this stitch 1 over 1 under. Oh, so beautiful. So yeah, that was my secret thing. Started back in February. Yeah, February, because I was at my mom's when I started it, I remember. And then I stopped traveling, obviously, and stayed at home. So I had time to do things. Oh, so perfect. Everything I'm mentioning right now, I will leave in the description box below, so that you can, you know, go and take a look on the websites if you're interested or whatever. I'm sorry, I had my legs all folded up. Now, the very last whip I want to show you. I've decided this is my mania because it's very not me. It's a totally new endeavor. It's insane to my eyes and it's awesome. So last weekend I had watched videos about Pattern Keeper and the full coverage, how this app made everything it's so much easier, blah blah blah. And I've always been interested and kind of curious to know what stitching a full coverage piece would mean, right? And I know it's very different from all the things that I usually stitch, because the way you do it, the way you approach it, the way you organize your stitching is really different. I had started one HAED last 18 months ago. I was doing 1 over 1 half stitches. I really don't like half stitches. Like, it's just the process is not working for me. I'm so much in the habit of doing full crosses that it actually goes kind of like against my natural way of stitching. So I actually UFO'd it. It's kind of sad, but anyway, I let it down. But it came back, this want of, like, this will of trying it, because obviously it's kind of insane, it's kind of fun, it's kind of special and whatever. And so last weekend I thought, okay, I want to try something. I really want to try full coverage. And now that Pattern Keeper is around, it seems probably easier to get into it, even when you're not used to. So, but then here's the thing. I only have iOS devices. I've got an iPhone, an iPad, and a Mac. So Pattern Keeper is not an option on these devices, right? And so I thought, okay, well, we'll see if I can install an emulator on my Mac so that I can have the, what's it called? The Google Store, whatever, so that I can get the app, etc. So I spent a lot of time last weekend trying to see whether I could get Pattern Keeper on my Mac devices, like iOS devices, and then, order a pattern and whatnot. Ended up a little bit technically complicated, and it didn't really actually work, even with an emulator on my Mac. They spare you with the details. However, my mind was set on this. I had to try something. So I spent a lot of time on HAED, found a pattern with no background, because I know I'm talking about full coverage and then I end up choosing a pattern with no background. But anyway, I can't see myself stitching pages and pages of background before I get to anything interesting. That's not like realistic for me. So found a mini, so as like a reasonable sized one, with no background, with a very interesting like the picture, the artwork is interesting, and I know it's going to be perfect for my beloved Z, because he's into that kind of thing. I'll show you in a minute. And so I said, I went with it. Only 85 colors. I had 20 of them, including like 310 and 37.99, which is very prevalent in the pattern. So I knew I could get a start even before getting the additional 60 colors of DMC I needed. And then I was left with the Pattern Keeper problem. I had a video call with Leah on Sunday evening, my evening, and I let her know what my idea was, and she was kind of surprised because she knows it's really not my style. But anyway, she said, well, maybe you can find a tablet, like a Samsung tablet, Android tablet, whichever, a secondhand, so that it's not that expensive, and so that you can have it and use the Pattern Keeper on it. So that was it. I was done for it. So that same night on Sunday, I ordered a Galaxy tablet, I think, Samsung. Thankfully, I had the option to have it delivered within 48 hours at home, which is awesome. So I received my tablet on Tuesday, and I have been obsessed so far. So since Tuesday, I have started a HAED, and I think I've stitched 2,200 stitches on it so far. Oh, do you want to see it? I'll show you a printed picture of the pattern, of the artwork. It's, oh my God, Mev, you're so bad at this. Again, I'll probably insert the details of the pattern here on the video. It's a mini. It's called Calling the Crows, and the artwork is by, I can't remember. I think it's Anne Brown, but I'm not sure. Again, I'll insert it here. Now, here's the here's a picture of the artwork. Oh, it's this kind of like witchy, winged sorceress, whatever, calling the crows to her. Oh, she's got this insane dress with, like, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 different reds, long gray hair, those gorgeous wings. Oh, so that's not necessarily my style, but I know that my partner, who's very much into goth, steampunky, sexy kind of gals, is gonna like this. And it's going to take ages, but the process is, you know, interesting because it's it's supposed to be a full coverage. And plus, I mean, I'm thinking of him in each and every stitches. He's in my mind, and that feels so very good. So yeah, so that's the pattern I chose. Again, I'll put the details on the screen and in the description box. And as I have ordered the no background version, I had to find an appropriate fabric, and I did. I found a 25 count Lugana in my stash, and this is an XJU design, and it's Dark Mountain. And guys, I think it was meant to be. Oh. So yeah, that's where I'm at so far. So this is a gray, pretty heavily modeled, and I mean, look, it's gonna work, right? It's definitely gonna work. So I'm not gonna stitch the background, although the background is beautiful on the pattern. But I think it's perfect in terms of, like, you know, the feel and the atmosphere of the overall pattern. So I've done like I think it's actually more than 2,200, because I think so far I've done the black, so 310 is here. This is 1/1 full crosses, again on a 25 count Lugana. So I've done the 310, and I've started with the 37.99, so very dark gray, yesterday evening. And I think the first stitches I've put are on this crow here. This is cool. This is uber cool. And the nice thing is, because I'm doing, obviously, as you can see, I'm stitching cross country, because Pattern Keeper allows that, makes it so easy. Because it's fairly small for a HAED, I mean, like, I can see instantly what things are going to look like, right? And that is very satisfying, especially for someone who's not used to stitch HAEDs. So it's not like I have like pages over pages over pages of background where there's nothing interesting to see, right? And I'm not saying this in the I'm not saying this in a bad way. It's just that I don't think I would be capable to keep up with pages and pages of background. So I'm happy that I'm able to do a HAED. It's going to be full coverage for at least for the character, and I mean the red part of the dress is going to be something, but it's still doable for somebody who doesn't feel capable of doing those insane completely full coverage thing. And I'm very grateful that HAED allows for no background options, so that people like me can sort of tackle patterns like this. So awesome. So yeah, so I've got a tablet, got Pattern Keeper, got a HAED, got a start, obsessed. This is 4 evenings plus yesterday. So 3 evenings and a day worth of stitching. And I am pretty excited about this. I had a conversation with Mieke yesterday, because I still had a question about HAED and I wanted to speak with an expert. So darling Bluebell Mieke helped me out. She spent a little bit of time with me just to, you know, give me some tips and reassure me on some concerns that I had. And so I think I'm going to enjoy the ride. I really think I'm going to enjoy the ride. And then when I get tired of doing 310s and 37.99, I can go back to my beautiful samplers, which are so very different that I know that, you know, it's probably gonna like the pieces kind of match very different ways of stitching, and I think that it's gonna be very easy for me to keep, you know, stitching and being happy to stitch, because I have 3 very different projects on the go. That's okay, we're almost an hour. That was to be expected. So that was my whips, my starts. 1/1 is kind of ruling my world right now, and as you know, if you know me, I love it. I absolutely love it, and so it feels good. It feels really, really, really good. there's one last thing that I absolutely need to talk about, because, and I'm trying to keep my shit together, excuse my French, because it shows how beautiful everybody is in this community. So my mom turned 70 on the 28th of April. And it's a big deal, right? I mean, it's we're getting there. And obviously we knew that, unfortunately, any like celebration would have to be virtual because there was no way we could visit her. She had planned a weekend with very, very close friends that she had to cancel. And so my sisters and I wanted to do something special, very special for her 70th birthday. But it had to be in a non-material, or at least non-material way. Fortunately, however, my youngest sister lives very close, and they were able to visit her, keeping their distances and wearing their masks and everything on D-Day. So my sister did go to her place on her birthday, but everything, like everybody else who had intended to see or visit her, couldn't. So early April, what we did with my sister, we reached out to my mom's closest friends, and we told them, well, listen, because she's going to be on her own, or almost on her own on D-Day, we would like, if you're willing, to gift her with whatever you want to tell her via text or video or audio recording, anything, or pictures, whatever. If you want to do like a small video, if you just want to read a text that you've written, if you want to take pictures of your garden, whatever you want to do to just let her know you're there and you're thinking of her, and to wish her a happy birthday, feel free to send us some stuff, and then we'll put it together in a final edited like video thing. And so I think somewhere around 20-25 people sent out their contribution to me, so that I could use iMovie to do this montage that lasted 40 minutes or so. Anyway, all this to say that my contribution, I wanted it to be Stitchy related, cross stitch thing. So what I did is I started thinking, well, I'm going to stitch little 70s, like 7 and 0s, on fabric, random fabrics, random fonts, whatever, with, some of my favorite threads and fabrics and stuff. And I'm going to stitch some 70s, and then I'm going to just, take pictures of them and then put them together in a collage, in a photo collage. And then I thought, what if some of my fellow stitchers wanted to jump in and help out and stitch their own 70s? And so I reached out to around 14-15 stitchers who very kindly did stitch some beautiful 7s and 0s and send me the pictures of those stitched 70s, so that I could use them in a final collage. And so I ended up, it was such a beautiful, act of kindness for my mom, whom they don't know. Some of the stitchers have never seen me. They've just seen me on Instagram and flosstube. That's it. They don't know who I am. I mean, and anyway, they just jumped right in and took their time and their floss and their fabrics to stitch a little 7 and a little 0, and then send a picture over to me, so that I was able to do this montage. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the 2 or 3, whatever, 2 70s that I've stitched myself, because I obviously have them. And then the others, I'll just insert a picture here of the final photo montage or collage that I did, and that I added in my mom's birthday present. So that's one of the little 70s that I did with a gorgeous variegated floss. This is probably a 46 count, and that's 1/2. That's one. And then here's another one with a beautiful red, pink, orangey variegated thread on the little piece of, I think that's probably a 40 count, 1/2. So yeah, so these are my 2 stitched 70s. But again, I'll at the end of the video, that's probably what I'll do, or here maybe I'll insert the final collage that I was able to put together thanks to those lovely stitchers. I'd rather their names are on the collage, and because I want to make sure I don't forget anybody, I'll just put that up for a little while so that you can see everybody who participated. And I'm extremely, extremely grateful. It's another, it's another proof, if we needed any, that this community is just awesome. And we were like right in the middle of this friggin' crisis. It was April. Everybody had to deal with whatever stuff they were dealing with. And still people took their time to, go and get some like font they liked, or some, alphabet and letters that they had in their stash, and then choose a fabric, choose a thread to do this for my mom. And she was extremely touched. She was in awe, knowing that people from all over the world, from Asia to the US, had taken the time to South Africa, taking the time to stitch a little something for her. And she was very, very grateful, very thankful. I know she was deeply touched, and I think I'm planning to go and work from her place in by the end of May, because I still have to work from home for another 2 months. What I'll do is I'll travel down to her place in 2-3 weeks, and then spend 2-3 weeks at her place working there. I've been isolated for 2 months now. I'm pretty sure I'm good to join her in her home. And she's in good health as well. She's healthy, thankfully. So anyway, I'll travel there, and then we'll find a way to do something to say thank you again to those lovely stitchers who participated in this birthday present. It was very special, and I'm extremely, extremely grateful for y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna stop here because otherwise I'm gonna tear up and it's gonna be messy. So in closing though, I will insert a tiny little clip, and that's another way of saying thank you. So since March 16th at 8 p.m. Central European time in Paris and a lot of other cities in France, and I know in Europe, people come to their window, on their balcony, outside, at their doorstep, to applaud for a couple of minutes. And this is to say thank you for all the healthcare professionals that have been working their ass off for the last 3 months to fight this thing. And so as you know, I live in the city. I live downtown Paris in a housing project where there are lots of people and balconies and windows. And so each and every evening at 8 p.m., we all just, show our head at the window or on our balcony, applaud for 2 minutes. And this is just, in the hopes that some professionals do hear and know how grateful we are, how thankful for their work we are. And I thought I'd include a tiny little clip. It lasts 10 to 12 seconds. The idea being, among my viewers, I'm sure there are some health professionals. I'm sure there are people working in stores that have stayed open for us to be able to actually eat, buy medicine, get some gas to go to work for those of us or those of you who still had to go to work. Anyway, all those people who have been out there working to enable just us to continue going on with our lives. I want to say thank you. And this tiny clip is a way of letting you know that every evening, a lot of people, thousands and thousands and thousands of people say thank you. So I'm going to end up here, this video, which is already very long. Thank you again so very much to all of you for being here, for sticking around, for having messaged me saying, hey Mev, when are you going to do a floss tube again? For encouraging me on Instagram, for having helped out for my mom's birthday, for being out there working, being essential for us to be able to go on. And I want to wish you a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be. And I'll be back before 6 months. In the meantime, stitch well, be kind. Au revoir.